Hello and welcome to our career advancement webinar, place for sharing career advancement tips and experiences. We are so happy you joined us today. Please provide your full name and the city you're joining us from. This is our weekly webinar that we do every Thursday at 7 p.m. But today on Friday, November 6th, at this time, we have a special presentation. So this is why we're doing it at noon to get all our international audiences be able to attend this special presentation. Depending on what time zone they are joining us, they will be able to attend this special webinar. Thank you, everyone. And we're so glad that you were able to join us today. I encourage you to provide your full name and the city you're joining us from. Today's webinar host is Community Career Promoter. Community Career Promoter inspires career advancement seekers to achieve their highest human potential, connects career advancement seekers with local career resources, serves all people who seek career advancement. To know more about Career Promoter, please visit their website at communitycareerpromoter.org. We have an important message from Community Career Promoter. It's about American Job Center. American Job Center can be found in every state, and we encourage you to find their location. If you're looking for career advancement, or if you know someone that is seeking career advancement, we advise that they will find the nearest community, the nearest American Job Center. Also, there is a virtual American Job Center at www.careeronestop.org. And their website, you can find self-assessment, training, and other career services like networking and tips on finding jobs, and interview and negotiating ideas. So I encourage all people to visit the careeronestop.org if you're looking for advancement in your career. I'd like to introduce our generous sponsor, Impact. Impact Management and IT Solutions provide simplified solutions, management and management services from start to completion, information technology services from basic to complex based on customer needs. To know more about Impact, visit their website at impactmits.com. Also, we have another webinar host, Addi Solutions. Addi Solution provides digital marketing, including website development, print and online promotion materials, online marketing, and advertising. To learn more about Addi Solutions, please their website at addisolutions.com. Our other generous webinar host is Azib Talele Promo Club LLC. Azib Talele Promo Club is an international business promoter that serves include B2B global network, top-level music promoter, and non-profit promoter. And visit the website at azibtalelepromoclub.com. Our other sponsor is ICAT Professional Services. ICAT Professional Services is your partner for professional development, talent source, data analytics, and societal impact. Service offerings include career academy, outsourcing, staffing and recruitment, applied data analytics, and social enterprise. Please visit their website at www.icat.net to learn more about ICAT. Just a few reminders on using your webinar tools. Please make sure that you are muted until there's a time for question and answer. But you can use the chat room to interact with us. You can ask questions, comments, suggestions, agreements, or disagreements. This is an audio only session, so please turn off your videos for best quality of the programming, and can also raise your hand if you have questions. With that, I'll pass the stage to Kimberly, who will take over from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sion. My name is Kimberly, and I will be helping to moderate today. I would like to introduce to you Gabe Hamda, who will be speaking to us on this topic of becoming a global freelancer, taking charge of your career. So Gabe, could you tell us a little bit about your background and your experience in freelancing today?
Yes. Kimberly, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you this lovely Friday?
I'm doing fantastic, and thank you so much for moderating and for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank everyone here, particularly those who were with us yesterday, and you are going to hear me second time. Hopefully this time maybe I'll sing or kind of do something different. So I want to thank you, and also want to thank those of you who joined for the first time, and all friends, colleagues who are participating. So I'm so grateful to get this opportunity to speak with you. So let me speak about myself in reference to global freelancing. So I have to say, without exaggeration, this is kind of within my DNA. From the time before I even turned 10, I was a freelancer. I was a hustler in my community, doing different things. And so kind of for me, it began there. And so over years, I've had full-time jobs, and on a side, I always did consulting. My background is instructional design. So I did instructional design consulting work as a freelancer for different organizations. I did volunteer work, which can be considered, hey, freelancing for free. And also I did a lot of moderating. So I have firsthand experience in doing freelancing. As a freelancer, I still continue to do that as a volunteer and also for pay. And at the same time, having been in business, associated with ICAT professional services, we've been using freelancers. So I have experience in hiring freelancers, looking for them, working with them, incentivizing them. And so I have experience with freelancing from all angles. So my life has been pretty much freelancing. I can be referred to as a freelancing maven. So I think now we are coining the word global freelancer. I consider myself a global freelancer, and I'm here to tell you all the good news about it. And so that's a little bit about me. Kimberly, back to you.
Fantastic, thank you. And we're excited to learn about what you have to say. I do want to invite everyone who is listening in, feel free to use the chat. We want this conversation to be as interactive as possible. So please send us your questions, comments, any experience you have as we are sharing. So Gabe, can you tell us about the what? What is becoming a global freelancer?
Wonderful. So becoming a global freelancer is, let me kind of take two words here. The emphasis today is on global. So the global part is it's providing your services to a global audience as a freelancer. Just, you're one person, you may have a day job, you may have a part-time job, you may have a bunch of freelancing gigs. And so it is to do that not only within your community, within your family, within your city, but it's to do it for a global audience. So just to give maybe a few examples, your skills may be computer programming, your skills may be web development or copy editing, or you may be a music composer, graphic arts, doing research, writing, language translation, market research. The sky is the limit. You may be a policy analyst, you may be a peacemaker, you may be good in negotiation, and also it is taking whatever skills you have and making it available for others to use it on the other side of the globe. And so I think in terms of what you can offer in freelancing, the sky is the limit. So what I want to do, I know, Kimberly, you want this to be participative. I want to ask the audience, maybe in your chat, you can say, what are your special skills? I just want you to list as many of them, maybe for sharing. I just gave you some examples so that for this to make sense. You may already be doing freelancing. Maybe you haven't thought about doing freelancing. So if this becoming is making that available for others to benefit from, please go ahead in your chat and list your skills. Now, when you list your skills, don't worry about the level of proficiency, okay? At whatever level, if you ever always wanted to be a brain surgeon, whatever, maybe you have some skills, not high level, you can list that. So I'm just saying that. And, maybe you are a singer, maybe you are a composer, maybe you are a peacemaker, whatever those skills are, I'd like for you to list them so that we can have fun as we go through this exercise.
Fantastic. And what I'm hearing is really any skill is worth mentioning, right, Gabe?
Yes. Now, one caveat is, I know I threw off a bunch of you by saying brain surgery. That is something really serious, right? I mean, how can I lightly refer to brain surgery? Lightly. Now, whenever we talk about global, we're talking about, you may be in, Central Florida somewhere, and your client may be in Australia, okay? Or you may be in South Africa and your client may be in Canada. You may be in Wichita, Kansas, and your client may be in Kenya somewhere. So so that's the context I'm talking about. It's not only next door neighbors. So for that service to be delivered, there has to be some kind of intermediary. We're talking about technology, so remote. So whatever you can offer remotely is what we're talking about. And I believe anything that you can do, anything that you can do that can be available remotely is what we're talking about. Let's just take cooking, right? Cooking is something that you smell and you eat, and I hope I didn't get you hungry, right? Something you touch and feel and smell. Well, maybe you provide cookbooks or different creative ways of preparing stir fry or samosa or something that someone on the other side of the globe may want to taste. So it is whatever you can package for it to be available in far, far away land. That's what we're talking about. That's a long answer to a short question, Kimberly.
Well, I see we have Anyan Wu on with us today again. So good to have you. And she mentioned skills in reconciliation, community healing, allyship development, and coaching. We also have Sonia, who listed medical interpreter, awesome, and Alex, international development, art, and literature.
Oh, these are exciting. Anyan Wu, I'm so glad you can join us again. And I like, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I have another friend, colleague, role model who lives in my community who is in the space of peacemaking, negotiation, conflict resolution, and everything else. And Anyan Wu, when you refer to community healing, it's the word that resonates with me. And I understand you are in the Wichita, Kansas area. You can be sitting in Wichita, Kansas, and there may be a community a war with one another in, I keep saying Australia. I don't know why. I hope the Prime Minister of Australia hears this and says, this guy really loves us, which I do. So, there may be, small communities in Central Australia who may be a war over border or something like that. And you may be the one who can bring community healing. And so distance no longer is a factor. So I'm just so happy to hear that. And many of you who are sharing your skills.
Great. So let's talk about why. Why is global freelancing important today?
Wonderful. Kimberly, I say freelancing is important today because, for one, it is good for employers. Some of you work for an employer. This is good for employers. It's also good for freelancers. It's good for society. I just don't see the downside to it. So, how is it good for employers? Well, if you are an employer, a small employer, maybe you can't afford to hire full-time employees. Maybe you can just hire freelancers. So it is economical for employers. And also you may just have a need for a very special talent, and that talent may happen to be in Kenya, okay? You may be looking for a copy editor, and that copy editor may be in Nairobi, Kenya. Guess what? You can hire them, okay? And so I think that there is that advantage for employers just in time as opposed to full-time. And also for freelancers, it gives you, the whole world becomes your ocean where you can swim. So it gives you an opportunity. And I think more from a freelancer standpoint, the days where, organizations are looking for full-time, who will serve, 20 years, 30 years and retire, I think those days are pretty much gone. So you heard it here. The days of full-time regular employment are gone for economic reasons and for convenience. So what organizations are looking for are freelancers who are available on demand. So I think it has just advantages, and also for society from economic vitality. Let's say, if I can, Kimberly, I know you are in St. Augustine, Florida, right?
Correct.
St. Augustine, Florida. Okay. Let's say, St. Augustine, Florida, develops this technology of developing beaches and making beaches beautiful and making them available. You may live in a desert, or you may live on a mountainous area, and how you can virtually bring beaches to your area through some kind of hologram or whatever it is. And so those services can be made available elsewhere. So for that community, the St. Augustine community, the economic vitality, being the center of the world, and also as a result of what they see, people may flock to St. Augustine as tourists. So it has economic benefits for employers, and as well as benefits for freelancers. Now, to just kind of sum it up, maybe put a little context around this. Our global economy is moving toward a knowledge economy or talent economy. What that means is there was a time when, your country is considered rich when you have oil. Well, if you have oil, still you are rich. Or, your country is rich if you have gold, or if you have coffee and all kinds of physical assets. And guess what? Today's assets are talents. If you have the best talents, you got it. You can make anything happen. So I think that is encouraging, this global freelancing, space. And also, the demand for talent is increasing, on demand. And also the emergence of what I haven't mentioned is the emergence of freelance exchange platforms. So there are technology platforms that facilitate, when I say a talent in Kenya being used by an employer in Florida or Kansas or Canada, it is made possible through these freelance exchange platforms. Guess what? When you use these platforms, you don't worry about currency exchange. You don't worry about work permits, because they facilitate and use their talents, and you pay by credit card. So I think the emergence of these platforms is making it possible. And also COVID-19 normalized remote and flexible work. There was a time when employers wanted to see their employees face to face, to think work is getting done. Guess what? As a result of COVID-19 and physical distancing, people have to work remotely, and that is working really well. Quite frankly, hey, listen, what do I know? I've been doing this for half of my life, and so this is the only way I've done work. So this is becoming more of the norm. And in closing, this is becoming a cost-effective alternative all around. So there are all these benefits. Of course, I'm an evangelist for global freelancing. So if there are other questions or pushbacks, love to hear it.
Hey, Gabe, this is AZ. I have a quick question about, for example, I have a business in the US, Success Pathways. If I have a business in Ethiopia or any other African countries, I'm just concerned about transactions, payments. For example, if I don't have a local business in Ethiopia or in Kenya or other African countries, how does the transaction works? Do I need to have a local presence, legal registration in these countries, or what's your experience in this regard?
AZ, I'm so happy to hear your voice twice today. And
likewise.
Yes, sir. So here is, my compliance officer is in the room without putting her on the spot. So, I'm not going to give any legal advice. So don't take this as a legal advice. Here is what I know. I'm going to get to it maybe a little later, AZ. I'd like for you to check out one of these freelance exchange platforms. If you are looking for, we're talking about freelance talents. We're not talking about, doing business in a country. We're talking about talents. Let's say if you want to source talent from Ethiopia or Kenya or Pakistan or anywhere, this technology platform facilitates. They facilitate, I've done it myself. ICAT needed a graphic artist. And so basically we had, talents on this platform. We went to a platform called Upwork. And so we registered as a user and we put an advertisement, and we had, just for graphic arts, we had responses from all over, including Ethiopia, from India, from the United States. So when we engaged those talents, we just paid by credit card on the platform, and the platform handles all the currency exchange. So this is really making it possible, easy for a company like yours if you want to grow. I know you are in the facilitation, in the leadership space, and maybe you want to hire people from Pakistan, from Ethiopia, Indonesia, anywhere to kind of help you do the work you do efficiently at a cost-effective level. And using this platform, use your credit card and you pay your $90 and you get your service. So that's kind of what I've witnessed. So I hope that gets to your question without getting into the legal factors. Did I get close to your question, or did I just get it?
Yeah, Gabe,
Okay.
I got it. I think my question was about how to do business locally, but you clarified that's about freelancing. But still the question is, if the people want to pay for my coaching or for my other services, could they be able to use the platform from Ethiopia, for example, and pay for my services? I know I can pay them, I can use my credit card, but what about the people locally? Could they be able to use the platforms and pay locally?
Yes. So here's what I know. So I'm not speaking for the platform. So the one platform that we used, this Upwork is the one I'm not necessarily endorsing them until they become our sponsor. Just joking. So one thing I've noticed is, AZ, you can register as a freelancer. You can also register as an agency. I know this is good news for you. You can register as an agency. You can say, okay, AZ, you can, or your company, Success Pathways, and register as an agency, and you provide coaching services and all kinds of things on this platform, and people can source your services. And how they get the money, you don't worry about it. You get paid by Upwork. So that's what I know. Behind the scene, what goes on, I wouldn't know how they make it happen. But this is a Fortune 500 Silicon Valley technology company I'm dealing with, and many others who may be same status, and they handle all behind the scene, legal currency exchange, and you can be making your services available on that platform. And you and I can discuss this further.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. I would love to continue to talk to you after the webinar. So thank you for the answer.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Kimberly, back to you.
Okay. Well, I think you have alluded to it a bit, but is there anything else we need to know about this online freelance platform idea?
Yes. So one thing I would say is, for those of you who are attending, and please provide your email addresses, and we'd love to send you a small article I put together on this topic on becoming a global freelancer. And there are references, and these references include freelance platforms. So just maybe I can mention a few of them. There is Upwork.com, which we use, ICAT uses, and we are sourcing talents from India, from Ethiopia, from the United States. Also, there is another site, I think the name is Freelancer.com. There is GoLance. There is TopTal, as it stands for Top Talent, TOPTAL. So all of this is listed, and you may, quite frankly, you can just Google many more and have access to these. And now, I don't want to say whether you want to make your freelance services available or whether you want to register as an agency, which you can, I believe, from what I see, or whether you are looking for talent. You don't have to be a big business to look for talent. You may be, you may be doing consulting work. You may just want, let's say, someone to do graphic arts for you, or you may want them to do a website for you, or you may want them to do one thing or another. This is a place you go. And so I would say, if you want to be in this space, visit these freelance platforms, and the requirement for you to register, to enroll, to subscribe, you will learn so much. I learned so much. I mean, this presentation itself is inspired by having been on this website, being on this platform. So it really opened my eyes, and I have been excited ever since. And that's why I pushed everyone aside to do this presentation, because I found this to be fantastically cost-effective, accessible, and useful for whatever situation you are in, whether you are an employer, whether you want to sell your services, or whether you want to sell your services as an agency.
Sounds very helpful.
Yes, it does.
So are there other tips you would give to us as either prospective freelancers or those who have gotten started already?
Yes. Before I get into the tips, Kimberly, are you getting some ideas maybe how to turn St. Augustine into this big economic maven? Are you getting some ideas?
Yes, I mean, I really relate to what you're talking about, especially going back to how freelancing really allows us to capitalize on other skills we have. I've been a teacher at the high school level for 4 years, and teaching is something that I never thought would change. And with COVID-19 and just the way that the world is moving to remote work, it's been fascinating to watch how such a long-lasting area has really become completely different with technology. And I'm taking advantage of the freelance opportunity by exploring other areas of curriculum design and other skills that I've had but have not necessarily applied in these new contexts.
Wonderful. Well, Kimberly, you are a product of this conversation. You
Absolutely.
reached out less than a week ago. Guess what? Now you are in the middle of moderating this. So it is amazing how the skills you have can be so value added to another organization or another group. And then you are you get it going. So if we just, let me just kind of put maybe my tips around Kimberly's skill sets. As an English teacher, there is just so many talents you have. And so if I can maybe build my remarks around that, I believe one of the first tips I'll give, or skills needed or competencies needed to be successful as a global freelancer, is English language proficiency. I said English language proficiency. So I'm not only pandering to Kimberly, I'm saying this because this is a global phenomenon. With the example I gave, you may be in rural Kenya and you want your services to be available for a company in Pakistan or Canada. And guess what? That, currency exchange, that language is going to be English. So I understand, we all have, native languages. I speak 2 native languages, which I'm very proud of. However, we are wired to have capability to learn more languages, to be fluent in multiple languages. And so I just recommend for anyone who wants to do this at the global level, regardless of where you are, is to build your English proficiency, the writing aspect of it, the reading aspect of it, the speaking, get better at it. And guess what? Someone may ask, where am I going to get it? I'm in, rural Kansas, whatever it is. Guess what? Because of internet, there are no excuses. These resources are abundantly available on the internet. Online learning resources, free online learning resources to English proficiency are available. However, I think our colleague Sion was referring to Kimberly's English proficiency. However, you may need, maybe a language coach or an English coach. And for that, you may reach out to someone, but these resources are available. So English proficiency is my very first, okay? Because that's kind of how you communicate. My second tip is around showcasing your portfolio, okay? You can tell me you are the most amazing, peacemaker or community healer. Guess what? Maybe you can post a little bit of how you do it, how you make that magic happen. A little video of that can be available as your portfolio. If you say you are the amazingest web developer, we need a sample of it. So, building your, showcasing your portfolio and continuing to improve on it and having someone else double check it will be my second tip. My third tip is around soft skills. It so happened that I think AZ, the gentleman who spoke early on, I call him the Pope of soft skills. And actually, I have to admit, he introduced me to what soft skills are. Although I know about it, but he really raised my awareness. So I would say soft skills account for 85% of your career success. Why is that? You may be the amazingest web developer. You may be the amazingest policy analyst. You may be the amazingest community healer. The soft skills kind of bridge, kind of build a bridge between you and others who use your services. Your interpersonal skills, your emotional intelligence, all of them come through soft skills. So soft skills become essential for your success. How do you build that talent? Okay. Well, guess what? Because of Internet of Things, there are so many free webinars on building your soft skills, so many webinar recordings that are available to you, YouTube channels featuring soft skills. I mean, the information, no one on earth, no one on our planet can say these resources are not available. These resources are abundant and soft skills are essential, okay? Now, the difference between me doing business with you once and me doing business with you over and over is your soft skills, your ability to relate, your ability to kind of get cues. So that's one of my tips. Now, my other tip is building your, whatever it is you do freelancing in, whether it is, let's say, coaching or policy analysis or peacemaking, is to get really good at it by joining, professional associations, writing about it, reading about it, looking for the latest trends, and just continue to grow. So anyways, that will be one of my other tips. And last but not least, I have more like a mindset tip, a mindset, okay? A mindset of being a global citizen. I mean, I understand about being American. I understand about being Canadian. I understand about being Ethiopian. I understand about being Pakistani, Ghanaian, and whatever nationality you have is amazing. And guess what? However, on top of that, we are all members of global citizenship. So we are one global village family. So it's kind of have that mindset. Why is that essential? Let's say if you happen to be in South America, okay? South America, and maybe you speak Spanish. And, after building your English proficiency, there may be a company, my favorite target, Australia. And you say, oh my goodness, those Australians, I don't speak Australian accent and whatever. Guess what? You are a global citizen. You are entitled and you have the privileges of being a global citizen and also a responsibility. So I think that mindset of being a global citizen, to see yourself as a member of the global community. And if someone speaks a different language and someone has a different culture, despite the differences, you have so much in common. And without exaggeration, I have to say, you may have, if all the differences we have between us, they will add up to maybe 1%, but the 99% we have so much in common. So this is maybe where, people like Anand Wu and, Professor Burhan, those of you who are in peacemaking, can help us see what we have, in common. So that mindset, when you talk, you may be American and you are talking to a Chinese talent or an Indian talent. And when you see you are one global family, that mindset can go long ways to retaining them as a client or to, using their talents and building a bridge between you to get amazing things happen. So let me get out of my soapbox. So those are my tips. And
no, I think that's such a positive thought to end with, especially on this Friday, just going into our weekends. And we have a great question as we're kind of transitioning to questions. I'll pass it back to Sion. But I did want to read this question in the chat for you, Gabe. Someone's asking, can someone make a career out of freelancing, or do you think it's only a side job?
Wow, that's a great question. So I would say I like to, maybe hear from other people, but let me give my 2 cents. I think you can do both. Let's say if you have a day job that where you just love it, it's more that your day job is more than a job. It's a calling. Let's say I don't want to pick on anybody. Maybe maybe you teach, or maybe you do whatever. Maybe you sing. Maybe you pastor a church or whatever. Maybe you are an imam. Whatever it is, it's just your passion. And so you hold that day job and then you do these side jobs, freelancing on the side. And, quite frankly, there was a time in my life when I was a college professor. And when you are a college professor, the more side work you did, the better professor you became. Guess what? You bring all these experiences. And quite frankly, also within companies, people who are, single channel, meaning just doing one thing versus doing different things. People who do different things bring so much perspective and richness to the table. So I'm saying this to say, if you keep your main job and do these as a side, can be one lifestyle, one option. Another option is, I think that's what happened to me. You can just piece together different freelance opportunities and make a career out of it. In other words, let's say if you do graphic arts, and instead of just doing for one company, this company may just have a need for a little bit of your graphic arts service. However, if you can offer it to 100 companies, you are always busy, you make a whole lot of money, you have exposure to all of them. That's how businesses are built. And I think that's what AZ has been trying to tell us. So instead of being an employee, you become an employee when the services you offer are tied to one organization. However, when those services can be provided to multiple organizations, you are becoming an agency, you're becoming an enterprise, you are becoming a job creator. So it's kind of like depends on whether you are using, I call it the Oprah model, whether you are the brand and whatever it is, or you build enterprise. So I think it kind of depending on where you are, it can be done. both ways. Now, if you do the other way, meaning you are making a living out of doing, like freelancing, multiple freelancing, I think one of the skill sets you need maybe more marketing and sales, because you have to be able to attract the demand for your services. What happens, a lot of people who do freelancing, they are good in what they do with heads down, and they put all their heart and their soul into doing their work for 6 months. And when that work is done, guess what? You are up looking for air and there is no more work. So you have to do, marketing becomes an essential ingredient if you want to do it for multiple organizations.
Excellent point. And I think both sound like great options. I definitely agree with what you said about I love to learn. And so always learning, whether you're doing it as a career or whether you are doing a full-time job, but expanding your outlook on different things. I think both are such great options.
Yes. Something I learned just talking to Kimberly, we met, Kimberly, did we meet 3 days ago or 5 days ago?
Oh gosh, I think it was 3 days ago.
3 days ago, yes. So, I think one thing I learned from Kimberly, which qualifies her as an amazing global freelancer. Kimberly will be doing work for ICAT, I can tell you that, for a long, long time. But also, I see her as someone who can do freelancing on a global stage. Why is it? There is something unique about Kimberly. One thing I noticed is, when you talk to a client, it is, I guess, relating to them, relating what you do to their needs goes long ways. Her background is, English teacher, high school, 4 years. My goodness, 4 years of high school English teaching translates into 100 years of being an English teacher. So high school is such a fun place to be at, gives you extensive experience. Now, I think when she came to us, she said the magic word, ICAT is in the business of building e-learning programs. So, Kimberly spoke about, her desire to pivot toward, e-learning and building her capacity, and the fact she has some experience. So I think, when whatever it is you offer, let's say, an annual, you're talking about community healing, in general, that is attractive to anyone, whether they are in an organization or whether they are in a community or in a country. Now, when you relate that to a specific audience you are talking to, let's say, as I said, Australian, to kind of relate to, maybe if there are tribal groups by name and the issues they are dealing with, that takes you to another level. So that's a skill set I saw in Kimberly, and anyone who considered this to relate your generic skill sets, for which you want to do freelancing, to what the audience is looking for, makes you very, very valuable. So just want to say that. So that's Kimberly, that's a compliment, correct?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
That's a compliment. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we do have another question in the chat from Berhanu. Forgive me if I pronounce that incorrectly. Do you think a workshop on the topic of business and global cultures would be helpful?
Absolutely. Professor Berhanu, you are absolutely welcome. And I'd love for you maybe to share a few points. It's just, we actually welcome if you can maybe share some perspective or do a presentation. Absolutely. Like if I am raised in a community and I don't have exposure to how the rest of the world works and things and the culture, kind of the global culture, that can be a limitation. So I think that kind of workshop can be very helpful, Professor. So if you want to maybe speak to that, I'd love for him to get an opportunity to opine, say a few words. Professor?
Aved?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I that would be, I thought, a good idea. And there are people from my university who are more current on this topic than I am, and I could invite one of them if there is enough lead time, or I could try, present an idea. Really, because different countries communicate differently. We know, for example, in conflict, dealing with conflict, when someone, say from the United States, makes a statement, a Japanese may say yes, but she didn't mean I agree. Rather, they meant I heard you, without accepting responsibility for the conflict. So this type of communication, culture-based communications, culture-based sharing meanings might be a skill that would be helpful.
Agree very much. I can really relate to the point you are making, Professor. As I said, recently I have been on the lookout for talents, and these talents happen to be from various cultural backgrounds. In the way we relate and talk to one another determines whether we proceed or not. So decisions, there are so many people who can offer the same service. Like, I think the easiest example is graphic arts. We found graphic artists in India, we found graphic artists in Ethiopia, and the West Coast and East Coast, and different people. So I think our connection with someone is to the extent to which our cultural backgrounds don't create a lot of noise. And if you are on the selling end of these freelance talent and you are dealing with someone from whatever culture, you can relate better so that you minimize the noise and the rub, so that there is a smooth communication. So that is, look forward to that, Professor, and definitely we can give you lead time. And we love the idea of, we have another webinar platform. ICAP does monthly webinars, and we usually use more like a panel, 2-3 speakers. And that may be, I can discuss with you how we can make it available on that platform, or even on this platform, how we can maybe use this, because we are increasingly becoming global. Even in this webinar, there are people with different cultural and language backgrounds from different places. And Sion early on referred to people who are joining us from different parts of the world. So to accommodate that, I think this skill set is something we need today. I know I have a need for it. So
thank you.
Right on.
Excellent. Well, if anyone else has a question or a comment, please feel free to add it in the chat. We have a few more minutes. We can definitely hear from you.
Kimberly, may I ask a question? Maybe if there are people who are doing freelancing work, maybe they can chat or give, kind of experiences. I don't want to drag this out longer than it needs to, but love to hear, experiences of people doing freelancing, kind of at a global stage. Love to hear your experiences.
Gabe, I want to share one experience. In this case, I'm not the seller, but as a buyer, I use Fiverr. I don't know, some of you may already know that. Fiverr is a company, F-I-V-R-R, Fiverr, which basically provides graphics, video, and other services worldwide, which is, it's like the Upwork. You go there, register, you give your credit card. For example, I use that for logos, video intros, outros, and so on and so forth. So here's some of you, if you are interested to provide services in the area of graphics, such as designing logos, video clips, and so on and so on. You can register and you can get, even if it says Fiverr, $5, you can even charge up to $100 for some projects, depending on the experience they want, the additional features, and so on. So check it out.
Wonderful. That's very helpful. I'm going to check it out. So I think, the remark I made about, freelance platforms, there are so many platforms depending on your interest. And the way I stumble into this, I have to admit, I'm always the last guy to find things. I wish I knew this a year ago, but, I don't regret a whole lot. I think I found out about Upwork and this whole industry just a few weeks ago. And my goodness, it opened my eyes. So there is more to come. So I was just Googling. I was desperately looking for freelance talents. And so I just came across this. So the more platforms you explore, and you will find one that fits, and maybe you use a mix of those. So thank you for sharing. And I'm hoping, in the future, actually when we send you on this article, for those of you who sent us your emails, we're going to send you this article, and also we're going to send you more like a Google form. It's more like a survey, your experiences with freelancing, and also if you want to be part of a network of freelancers. So we'll do that, and we'll have a knowledge exchange, kind of more like form a small community of freelancers, so that we can learn from one another and improve. So you have that opportunity, and I look forward to learning from you and doing business together.
Gabe, one more suggestion.
Yes.
So when we talk about freelancing, actually there is also the term volunteering.
Yes.
I remember from my experience working with the USAID and USDA projects in Africa, many retired university professors actually used to go out and help farmers. There was a program called Farmers to Farmers.
Yes.
So they share their experience, and then they go out to the farms. Many countries. I remember my projects in Ethiopia and Kenya Tanzania benefited from these qualified university professors of United States. So that also includes. I mean, we have to look. From here, people are ready to go and work. The only cost we had was the projects had money, so they purchase a ticket, and we pay only for their, just a little bit money. Now, if you think about USAID Max, like you have to pay for an individual like 600 or 500 USD per day, but these volunteers were like less than $100. So I mean, this is very effective cost-wise as well. So that kind of approach also, we had that kind of approach experience. Thank you.
Alex, thank you so much for sharing that perspective. Volunteering, quite frankly, personally, is kind of near and dear to my heart. When I'm done with my day work, I want to move, switch to the volunteering side, because there is so much fulfillment coming back, aside from the monetary return. And, when I started the business career, I used to volunteer. And when people see me volunteer, they kind of hire me to do various either freelancing or business work. So volunteering has just a wide range of benefits. And if you can share, Alex, the websites, for anyone who may be interested, love to kind of share that information. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you again to all of our participants for chiming in with your input. It really has been a collaborative and productive time together. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Sion, but thank you all, and thank you, Gabe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Kimberly, for such an amazing presentation. This presentation has been a great informational session that explained about freelancing, which is a great opportunity worldwide. So we're gonna proceed and go to our usual programming, which is going to be every Thursday. As I said before, this is a special programming that we did on Friday noontime. I encourage everyone to come back and join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. for our weekly webinar by Career Advancement Club. We like to send you recordings, so please put your name and your email in the chat room so we can keep contacting you if you're interested to get recordings, and we can also send you some articles Gabe mentioned earlier. Thank you again for joining us. This is a program by Career Advancement Club, and which is also run by Community Career for our community services and to teach our community. We normally on Thursdays we invite different people from different backgrounds to share their career stories, so we can learn from their successes. So thank you everyone for joining us. So we look forward to meeting you again on our next session, which is going to be next Thursday at 7 p.m. Okay, and so we look forward to see you.
So, Sion, if I can just say this, just in the finishing minutes, I spoke enough. I do want to say, the Thursday evenings, I want to shout out to Sion and to all our volunteers and Azeb, who is our sponsor, and our Midwest envoy. She's such a powerhouse right there, and Jerry Mengistu, who is kind of like our program coordinator, and everyone. So I'm on that team. So I do want to tell you, I can encourage you as a program organizer for you to join us. I also want to admit that I'm addicted to the Thursday night event. Really, why is that? How come I'm addicted? What kind of addiction are we talking about? Well, when people come and share their success stories, it's very addictive. Reason is it's like reading bestseller because they are telling their stories, their career stories, and their ups and downs and their successes and how they got promoted and how they got fulfillment in different careers. So it has been such an eye opener, and I learned so much from it. So, we pretty much ask same question, but since the answers come from different people, we have different guests. It just becomes so exciting and so addictive to me. So now, with that said, those of you who are here for the first time, you are welcome to be our guests, and you have amazing stories that you never thought will be exciting, can be exciting. We have a way of making it so palatable to our audiences. So I hope you volunteer to speak, one of these Thursday nights, and also I hope you are able to join us. Thank you.
Thank you again, Gabe. With this, we'll wrap up today's session. And have a wonderful week, everyone. And the weekend is coming. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Sion.